In this question, we have two functions, which is what a system is. A system is when you have two equations and you're basically looking for the intersection. So this is a fancy way of saying, where do these functions intersect? Now, for intersections, you want to get both equations in the y equals format, which they usually are anyway, and set them equal. So if we do that, it'll look like this. X plus 9 equals x squared plus 16x plus 63. So now we have to realize this is a quadratic situation. And when you can say to yourself, this is a quadratic, those are generally variations of y equals x squared, y to the first power, and x to the second power. And to solve one, you have to get everything on one side equal to 0, preferably with the x squared term being positive. For us, that means taking away x from both sides and also taking away 9 from both sides. So we'll have 0 equals x squared plus 15x plus 54. So now we're in a BC factoring situation because we have a quadratic in the format of ax squared plus bx plus c. And there's a b term and a c term, but for a, there's just the invisible number 1 right here. So for BC factoring, you're looking for two numbers that add to b, 15, and multiply to c, 54. And if no set of numbers just immediately jumps out at you, the next thing you should do is just divide the c by every number in order. So 54 divided by 1 gives you that. 54 divided by 2 gives you that. And 54 divided by 3 gives you that. Now with some negative signs, we could get 3 and 18 to give us 15, but we don't have negative signs. So the next number that divides 54 is 6. We can say 54 is 6 times 9. And so now we found two numbers that add to 15 and multiply to 54. So we can factor. This factors 2, x plus 6, x plus 9. And now we have our zero product rule. The zero product rule says that if these two parentheses multiply out together and give you an answer of 0, then that means that you can set each individual one equal to 0. Because the only way two things can multiply to 0 is if one of the multipliers is 0. So here the answer will be x is negative 6, and here the answer is x is negative 9. So we were trying to find out, where does this line and this parabola, where do they intersect? And we just found out that the two x values where they intersect are negative 6 and negative 9. Which of these is the greatest? Be careful here, because on a number line, negative 9 is actually smaller than negative 6. And negative 9 is not even an answer anyway, but if it were, you'd have to be careful with that. And so the answer here is negative 6. It's the greatest x value where these two functions intersect.